My 28F told me, 32M, that I broke her. Context: I had to go out of town for work recently where I've been gone for a little over a week. My girlfriend never wanted me to go, she doesn't like when I leave, which is totally understandable to a degree. However, I notice that every time I do go somewhere out of town, see family, work, she turns into this really intense person. So, going back my work trip, she never wanted me to go alone. She asked me to ask my company if they'd pay for her to fly out. I had to explain to her that it was work and this wasn't a social, fun visit. After she pushed me to ask my manager, and him swiftly replying that it wasn't something they'd do, she finally was okay with me leaving under the promise that I contact her as much as she contacts me. I get to the office I am working out of, and out of respect I have to put my phone on silent sign. I am presenting in a room full of people. I let her know what's going on and she seemed okay with it. The first day things were very copacetic and fine, but then, the second day after work things took a turn. I was in my hotel room and she tried to call me via video chat while I was watching a movie. I didn't think it was a huge deal so I ignored the call and finished the last few minutes of the movie. I called her back and she demanded to know who was in my room, how it was shady, that didn't pick up her call. I called her out on her behavior, which resulted in her screaming at me and hanging up. She texted me several hours later apologizing. The third day, I forgot to turn my phone off silent. I went to dinner with my coworkers, and I told her we'd talk when I got back to the hotel. When we came back, I was pretty buzzed and then I forgot to tell her that I wanted to go and grab a drink at the bar. After a few I checked my phone and realized she had called me multiple times and sent me text after text, asking me to send a picture of myself holding up the menu of the restaurant I was at. I was so nervous I lied and told her that we were still at dinner. She has my location and then erupted on me. She said I was with another woman, being a slut, among other colorful language. Normally I wear my watch to see notifications on my phone, but I left it upstairs. She screamed at me on the phone and sent me so many texts even during my meetings. I am in a neighboring state that I grew up in and I called her today. We talked a bit and I opened up telling her how I felt bad that I didn't see my family since I was so close to them in distance. Some context: she hates my family. She said, "Oh honey, do you want me to feel bad for you? Don't forget you're in the fucking doghouse." I was pretty taken aback by it all. She was so vulgar and I could feel the animosity over the phone. I am sitting at the airport now, almost 10 hours before my flight even takes off because she wants me to prove to her that I am sorry. She wants me to show her how sorry I am by showing her how important she is to me. I shouldn't have lied to her, that much is fact. But this is all so much. I am already helping raise her kid, now I am feeling controlled heavily. I don't know what to do. This is more me venting than anything. Should I seek therapy for her and I together? Too long did not read. I lied to my girlfriend about being back from dinner and instead grabbing drinks with my coworkers, and now things have become so terrible. This isn't normal. How long do you want to stay walking on eggshells and embarrassing yourself asking for things at work that aren't appropriate? This level of controlling behavior is honestly abusive. You should really be considering whether this is the type of relationship you want to be in, because this shit is not going to get better. She's going to want more and more control until you can't talk to anyone who isn't her without being verbally and maybe even physically abused. This is very unhealthy behavior. I think it will become a major issue in your relationship at some point soon. Individual and couples therapy are generally good things to help the relationship, but honestly I'd be out. There are just a few too many red flags going out. She is super insecure. She doesn't want you traveling for work. She wants you with her every day. She doesn't trust you if you're out of her sight. This isn't someone you build a life with. She needs therapy and not a relationship. She needs to work on her issues. No, you shouldn't have lied, but you lied to avoid her wrath, which you got anyway. She will always expect you to prove you're not cheating. It's no way to live. I'm going to add this right here. Location flag, location flag, location flag, location flag, location flag, location flag. How do I 21F get my boyfriend 26M to help out more with our 3-month-old son? My boyfriend doesn't seem to realize how I have no free time for myself and offers solutions like, how about we alternate days where I watch out son so you can wash bottles or get a break? But doesn't take into account night feedings, getting his formula, clothes prepared the night before for daycare, laundry that has to be done, and cleaning around the apartment. When he gets home from work he can go on his computer and play games, but when I get home it's unpacking our son's stuff from daycare and getting stuff in order. The last 2 days have been taking naps with my son and then waking up at 12 a.m. to get myself and him ready for work. My boyfriend literally has no responsibilities other than going to work, paying bills, and then hanging out with his other son on Saturdays. Me on the other hand have to think about not only myself but my son. He gets to relax when he gets home while I have to think about work. I tell him that I can't deal with him sitting back and playing games while I have to do everything, but he says he needs to decompress after work, which he does until it's time for bed. Where is my time to decompress? Where are my breaks? Alternating days don't work. I work at the daycare my son goes to and work in the same class as him until there's a opening for a VPK position, so basically I'm caring for not only my kid all day but several others, and when I get home that work doesn't end. He says I'm not meeting his needs and it's my job to make him happy and that I'm being selfish, but why aren't none of my needs being met? He's literally using up everything I have. He makes meals using my EBT and WIC and doesn't even make me anything if I'm sleeping or cleaning. That money is supposed to last me a month, but it only lasts a week and then I have to pay out of pocket for food or not eat. He tries saying my EBT is our EBT, but it's not. He's literally freeloading off something meant for me and my son. I just want him to help out more, and sometimes that means going days without time to yourself or playing games. I've sacrificed basically all my free time and sleep caring for our son, but he hasn't given up anything, and just watching him while I struggle is irritating. Like, why do I have to give up everything while nothing changes for him? He expects me to pay rent when he moves into a bigger apartment with 2 bedrooms, but I'm already funding his food with my EBT that I can't enjoy the way I want without him getting mad. I use my EBT when needed and usually have $100 left over, maybe to buy a small snack or two when I feel like having chest days or just need something to cheer me up if I'm having a rough day, but this month I only have $20 left. I'm already feeling burnout. Bad things were easier when I was living with family and caring for my son. I only bought food for myself and his formula. I'm literally reaching my breaking point and would like some advice on to talk to him on helping out more. He doesn't seem to comprehend whenever I try to talk to him. He always seems to have his best interest in mind and not mine and his son's. Too long did not read. Boyfriend doesn't want to help out more when it comes to our son's care. He sits at his computer after work and plays games, leaving me to care for our son and clean up his messes. First of all, you need to leave that boy. But I'm petty, so stop doing his laundry, cleaning, cooking, whatever. Clean up after yourself, and the baby. Put the diapers and hampers places that's so obvious that it makes him uncomfortable. Follow him around with a baby, and just leave his clothes where they are. If he gets upset, he can only be annoyed at himself. Should talk to a lawyer about child support. You need to move back with your parents if possible. He's a user and loser. Why do girls like you stay with broke men, child losers? There are so many nice men with good jobs who know how to adult. Anyway, if he wanted to play games and not do house stuff, then he should have had a great paying job and dated traditional woman. Is he the father? If not, I would just leave him. Seems like he just wants to be a young man and not a father. My 28M wife, 30F, changed her mind about having kids. We have been together for 9 years, since I was 20 and she was 21. When we started dating, she had a 1-year-old daughter whose father doesn't really care and or take responsibility of her, so I have pretty much been the closest thing to a father that her daughter has had, and I love her like my own. Since we started dating, we have always agreed upon having kids together when the time is right, and for the past 5 years she has started to be really vocal about making a baby together and that she will soon be too old, etc. The thing is, I want kids too, and it's probably one of the most important things to me in life, but I have always thought that I want to have a stable situation both economically and mentally before having them. Since I graduated 2 years ago, I began entrepreneurship because this was something I had really wanted to do but didn't ever really get to the point where I could pay myself enough to sustain a family life to the standard I was hoping to. This January it started to get really tough for us though, because she was determined that it's now or never and we should start trying for a baby this year. Well, I was very anxious about it because my company wasn't doing very great, but I made the difficult situation in the end to start looking for a job that pays stable pay that is high enough for me. In May I was offered a job that had higher pay than what I was expecting to get, and at around the same time my wife graduated and found a job instantly. So it is now the first time in our lives that we both have a job, neither are studying, and we have much more money than ever before coming in monthly. My mind is also set for a baby and I tell her about this and we agree to drop the pill and start trying. We have sex a few times in June and I am happier than ever before and ready to finally have children that we have talked about since we started dating. Then suddenly it just comes to a full stop. She doesn't really show interest in the bedroom and I figured it's just the summer heat and no big deal. Until finally few days ago I confronted her about why are we not having sex anymore. And then the worst shit I could have imagined happens. She drops the bomb that she is not sure if she wants to have kids anymore. She has been too afraid to tell me this and has just avoided sex because it would come up and be a hard thing to talk about. Now I am absolutely shredded about this and am sobbing thinking, am I too late? Will I ever have own kids anymore? Do I have to choose between my lovely wife or own children? She keeps on claiming that this could pass and that it's maybe just a phase, but at the same time she can't be certain she will ever want kids anymore. I've tried to find reasons for it and asked her, but the best I've gotten out of her is that she is uncertain if she wants to start over again now that she has raised a daughter that is 10 already. I am absolutely wrecked and thinking what to do. I don't want to choose between the two most important things in my life. Also maybe I am just overreacting and it's a phase that will pass, but it's very difficult to tell myself this. Thanks in advance and sorry for the long wall of text red heart. Too late to have kids? My guy, you're 28, not 68. Couples have kids well into their late 30s, early 40s. If you really want kids, unfortunately you need to leave. She's not going to change her mind. The thing is I want kids too and it's probably one of the most important things to me in life. This will never change. That's a fundamental need you have and you want from a relationship. It's important that you respect it. Her intent of having kids was conditional on how old her daughter was. It's only a few more years away now that her daughter will start becoming independent. Your wife wants to get back her own independence then and not being tied into being in a new parenthood. She is putting herself first and her needs first. Respect your need of having kids and do the same, put yourself first and leave her. Sorry bro. Your wife has now decided that she doesn't want any more children. Don't wait around for several years on the off chance that she will change her mind. I highly doubt she will. She knows she doesn't want any more. But she's saying she might change her mind so you don't leave her. If you really want children then you are no longer compatible and it's time to move on. If you stay, and she doesn't change her mind, you will resent her and your marriage will end anyway. She was ready for the past 5 years and you blew her off. She probably thought it was never going to happen and made her peace with it. You had every chance to have another child with her. You thought you had forever to make up your mind, and you missed the window. I think your marriage is dead. Sorry. Considering divorce. I, 33F. am tired of the dynamic with my 40M adult child husband. I, 33F. have been with my partner, 40M, for almost 15 years. But we have only lived together for the past 5 and everything changed since we got married and started living together. Long story short, he's the typical man I've read about, seen online. Can't pick up after himself. Doesn't know how to clean, poor personal hygiene, can't cook an egg even if he wanted. Knows close to nothing about personal finances. The list goes on. After pointing all this out to him, he has improved a little but most of the time he falls back into his old habits. I try to let things slide to keep the peace, but he says he can see the dissatisfaction on my face and says his efforts are never enough to me. Which is true. I am completely opposite to him in all these aspects. I am super organized and structured with everything. So yes, he barely scrubbing the toilet is not enough. On the other hand, he is the kindest man there is. He will never say no to any request, he is funny, faithful, and respectful. My family loves him. We can talk for hours. We have been best friends all these years. We have many common interests, and we had never argued until we started living together. What weighs on me the most is that I feel like instead of marrying the love of my life, I adopted a 40-year-old child. On top of that, he has been unemployed since the pandemic, so I have covered all the costs of living to this day. At this point my patience is almost zero, and I feel I love him as a person but not as my partner. There's no intimacy. I'm never on the mood. Of course if it were up to him we would be at it all the time. It's hard for me to imagine this dynamic for the rest of my life. I want to leave him, but I also struggle with the idea of throwing away 15 years of my life. I have made it clear to him that he needs to get his act together because I am tired of adulting for the two of us. I know I'm far from perfect. There are aspects of myself that I need to improve too, but unlike me, he has never considered divorce. I'm looking for some insight. Have you regretted leaving someone? Did your life change in the direction you expected after leaving them? Too long did not read. I married the man of my dreams, but he turned out to be a child. Lol. You didn't throw away 15 years of your life. You got every single thing out of it that it had to offer. You get to keep all the good memories and experiences. But if it no longer offers what you need, you'd be throwing away every moment you stick around. That, you'd regret. He is the kindest man there is. His behavior is unkind. Letting you get burnt out while he sits on his ass all day is unkind, even if he pretends to be just a bumbling idiot or puts on a nice guy act. He will never say no to any request. Accept your requests that he participate in the household management and get a job. He is funny, faithful, and respectful. This is not respectful behavior. I want to leave him, but I also struggle with the idea of throwing away 15 years of my life. Look up, sunk cost fallacy, that is what you are dealing with here. If you are unhappy, then don't throw away another 15 years. Tell him in no uncertain terms, either he grows up and pulls his weight, financially and otherwise, or he's on his own. You need to consider filing. He's definitely taking advantage of you. There's no reason he can't work. I'm going to assume he's not disabled. Sex and finances are huge parts of marriage and you're not happy in either department. It wears on your esteem and libido caring for a man-child. You start to feel like they don't care about you and your well-being. Best to be alone and at peace, than be lonely in the presence of someone that can watch you work yourself to the bone. It's disturbing he doesn't feel a sense of urgency to be productive. Prepare to leave and start preparing a file to prove why he should not get alimony. Yeah, he's not kind. What exactly is he doing all day while you pay the bills and do all the cleaning? That's not kind, that's great a mooch. I would divorce him about 3 years ago.